Hey guys, you're listening to the PetaPixel podcast where we talk about all the latest news in the photographic industry and more. But if you're looking for expert advice, incredible selection, and the best deals on photographic equipment, video, lighting, and more, you go to B&H. B&H is PetaPixel's new gear partner. And for even greater savings at B&H, we recommend the B&H Payboo credit card, which lets you save the tax. You pay the tax and B&H pays you back instantly. Save the tax on all eligible purchases shipped to eligible states. Or you can pay over time with our 6 and 12-month financing on minimum purchases of $199 for 6 months or $599 for 12 months. Terms apply. Learn more at bhphoto.com/Payboo. Credit card offers are always subject to credit approval. Payboo credit card accounts are issued by Comenity Capital Bank.
Prepare for a pretty popular program. It's the PetaPixel podcast. We're all back dropping peas. How's it going, boys?
That was a lot of peas, Jordan. Well done. That was a lot of peas.
It was more a challenge for myself.
We're good. Riverside's acting up, so this may or may not have some technical difficulties throughout, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we're like 50 minutes behind our normal start record time because it was having some problems, but we seem to be okay right now. Fingers crossed.
But before we get started with your question, Drew, I just want to address my ultra-wide frame is wider than I normally use because I got all this stuff that we have to show for the thing. Like, it's crazy. And, I got my monitor in the shot here because everybody's like, why does Chris keep looking off to the right? That's so rude. He should be making eye contact with his fellow compatriots and the viewers at home. But this is where all my info is that we go through the news on. So that's
I have
why
to imagine that's also
here.
Where we are. Where our
and that's where you guys are. Yes, if I want to look at but I'm going to put pictures behind the camera of just your faces. That's
I can send you my passport photo. I printed out a bunch of those because I was trying to get the best one, and I ended up giving one to my wife, and I stuck it in the corner of her monitor, and now she says she feels like she's in a Teams call all the time.
Ooh. I'll put
Teams call with a spouse, man.
I'll put little faces in the hot shoe. Anyways, Jordan, please continue with the show. I just want to address these, housekeeping before we go further.
Oh, man, I got my props, but they're safely out of frame right behind me, so we can do a glorious reveal a little bit later. I want to know what that thing with like a plastic on it is. I can't quite piece that together right now, but I'm sure you're going to get to it, and I'm excited for that moment.
You'll find out later.
Awesome. I should say last week we had just done a very strenuous video review for days, got back super late, and then rolled into the podcast. I would say the energy was low last week.
Really?
So we're going to bring the thunder this week. I'm going all in peppy, not on any kind of painkillers or muscle relaxants this week. So buckle your seatbelts, everyone.
I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
To kick this off with a level of excitement that you can barely comprehend, I got a little question for you guys, and it is actually not nearly as intense as that setup was. So just the other day, my wife is like making an amazing curry noodle thing that she does all the time. And she's like, Jordan, we're out of yellow curry. And I was like, that is a disaster. That is one of the most essential things in a pantry. So I'm going off to the spice merchant here this week. But gentlemen, I want to know, what's your favorite spice?
What?
The poor audio only listeners.
I just, what is my favorite spice?
Yeah, what's your favorite spice?
I don't know, man. Like, who thinks about these things? I don't know.
Me, man. Last night, I was like, oh, this is a banger question. Sharon, do you have an opinion?
Jared must have an opinion. He's a foodie.
Salt?
Wow. Yeah, you went more basic than I even went. Yeah, that totally counts, I think. That's
it's
fair.
the one I use the most. Should I not? I mean, I feel like I don't know. Okay, that was a stupid answer. I was being stupid.
You're being stupid?
Do you have a deep cut?
My deep cut would be the spice melange because it awakens the mind and it allows for interstellar travel and it causes war. So it's cool, man. Spice melange, 100%.
I didn't know if you were going to go Dune or Spice Girls, but it was going to be one of the two, I figured, Chris.
See, that's a question. Who's your favorite Spice Girl? I mean, there we go.
Is it favorite or is it which one are you?
Oh.
Because, I mean, Jaren's posh, right?
Am I?
You think Jaren's posh spice?
I think Jaren's probably posh.
Oh my God, I have no opinion on this.
Depending on how much sleep you get, you might be baby.
I like baby spice. I don't know. I think I'm like a dash of I'm a little pinch of scary and a dash of ginger. I think is what I would be. I suppose.
Good Lord.
Yeah. See, there we go. We figured out
We're
our favorite
fully
spice.
derailed now.
Great question, Jordan. Who's your favorite Spice Girl? There you go. Who are you most like? And what about you? What are you?
Yeah.
Jordan?
What are you,
Which Spice
Jordan?
Girl
What's
are
your
you?
favorite spice and which Spice Girl are you?
I actually don't know the Spice Girls that well. I
Me
feel like
neither.
they were
I have
like
no
just
input.
slightly behind me generationally, and probably like a little ahead of Jaren, I'm guessing.
Dude, I graduated
Like I
to
haven't
the Spice
seen
Girls.
the beloved film Spice World. Yeah, I'm coming into. I mean, I know the songs, but I don't know their defined personalities that well. So I'm going to go back to the original question and say my favorite spice is dill. Carry on.
Dill? That's your favorite
an
spice?
herb.
Dill?
I think it's a spice.
That's weird. You've never mentioned like specific
So,
love for dill.
If we're going to
Anything
include
dill,
all
always
herbs,
guaranteed.
I like that pick. Dill's great. I just don't think anyone ever really said, like, it's the backbone of the greatest sauce ever invented, which is ranch. So I like that.
Or tartar sauce, or yeah.
Yeah,
Garlic
you put
aioli or
basically, if it's like any meat, especially a seafood on a menu, and they're like with a little bit of dill sauce on the side, I'm like, shut this down. I'm ordering that. Yeah, I love me some dill.
I grow it and I put it in the pickles that I stuff down your mouth, Jordan. But
And I eat the hell out of those.
You swallow my pickles so fast and hard. But it's not my favorite spice. I'm gonna go with cayenne pepper, because like that
Interesting.
you can put in everything, right? Like you put a little bit in seafood chowder, just put a little bit in your turkey maple balsamic. It's just like you can add it to things you wouldn't normally think to add, and it's not really adding a layer of heat, but just like a nice layer of complexity. Anyways, that'd be mine.
I think that's a fair call. I think we've all made outstanding points here, and we've really delved deep into the Spice Girl catalog.
Let me, because the title of this podcast might not explain why Chris is covered in lenses.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I wanted
Good
to
hosting, Jared.
Yeah, I want to make sure everyone knows. We're going to talk about like the pros and cons of third-party lenses, because Chris has used a lot lately, and we're not necessarily going to make a video about every single one of the lenses that Chris has on his desk.
Please don't make me.
Because it's just
Please
too
don't
many.
make me.
So he's going to talk about some of the things he's learned about these manufacturers in his time with them, because you've been spending a lot of time with them in the last year. Okay, now we can start the podcast. Let's lead off with news right after a word from our sponsor.
Wait, what kind of sponsor could that be, Jaren? Who's our exciting sponsor? Maybe debuting a new one on the show this week?
Yes, we are. Take a look at everyone's chests, for those of you who can see it. So if you haven't noticed in the past couple of episodes, we've been showing off some new merch designs. These are in collaboration with Harper Finch, which Chris actually turned me on to. He discovered their shirts and got some, and they were great. We started talking to them, and they're like, cool, we're going to do a drop. So for a very limited time, just a few weeks, I won't tell you exactly how long, because I don't know if we've decided yet, but just for a few weeks, we're going to offer these shirts. The PetaPixel merch store, the link, the store.petapixel.com, has been redirected to this store, so you'll be able to see the drop. We've got
if you go to Harper Finch and you look at all the shirts, like there is a PetaPixel pod drop, like the PetaPixel drop is on there, and that
the
you click on
PetaPixel
that
pop-up is what it's called.
Pop-up. You'll see all of our cool stuff. It's a pop and drop. It's a up, drop, pop.
So as I was saying, the shirts are, and hoodies as well. So Harper Finch doesn't typically do hoodies, so these are special. These are the only hoodies I think they have on their shop right now. You can get the Film on Locations, You Cowards, the Bilf Hunter, and then 2 different PetaPixel designs, as well as the Loca design is a hoodie. I've been wearing the hoodie. Jordan's been wearing the hoodies. They are very comfortable. The shirts themselves, we have 2 Loca shirts. One of them is a play on the F1.2 episode that we did recently. And then the other one is the classic Loca, which you may have seen in Chris's episode last week.
Yes.
Now with fringing.
The with fringing looks just like Loca.
Yeah.
And then we, of course, have Chris, the Bilf Hunter.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you're into taking pictures of birds and you don't have one of these shirts, I don't know what to tell you. Like, quit. Like, change genres.
It's a huge misstep.
Yeah.
It's a life fail.
Go do something else, right? Because, like, this is, you have to be a Bilf Hunter. Birds I like to photograph.
One last note on this. We usually have like a 25% discount for PetaPixel members on the merch store. Because we're doing this drop as a bit of as a replacement of the store, you'll notice all the shirts have a built-in discount. So everybody, member or not, gets to take advantage of the PetaPixel discount for this.
Global discounts.
There you go.
Please also become a member, though. That'd be great.
We still love you to be members, but everyone gets access to the merch at the price that it is. So for that, there's a link in the description below. It is harperfinch.co/collection/petapixel or store.petapixel.com. That one's much easier to remember. You can also just go to Harper Finch, take a look at all of their designs. We highly recommend several. I've been wearing a few. Chris has been wearing a few. They're good.
Yes.
They're cheeky designs.
I've been enjoying the double takes with the Bilf Hunter shirt. Like just walking around a mall the other day and you get a few of those. It's great. And it's like, are they recognizing me or confused by my shirt? It's one of the two right now. I'm not sure which.
All right, so there we go. Thanks for working with us, Harper Finch. And check out the collection. We're going to move to the top story this week.
So much news.
Oof.
Sony,
the world right now
appears to be probably the first photography specific quote unquote victim of the flash memory shortage caused by AI data centers. In an announcement published to their Japanese website, they have said that almost all of their memory card business is currently ceased. They cannot make any more. Here's the statement. Due to the global shortage of semiconductors, memory, and other factors, it is anticipated that supply will not be able to meet demand for CF Express memory and SD memory cards for the foreseeable future. Therefore, we have decided to temporarily suspend the acceptance of orders from our authorized dealers and from customers at the Sony store starting on March 27th, 2026 onward. Regarding the resumption of order acceptance, we will consider it while monitoring the supply situation and will announce it separately on the product information page, meaning we don't know when we can start making these cards again.
Thank you for translating.
Yeah, so this is something that they have to do in Japan for regulatory reasons. If there's any disruption in any of the supply, you'll see this with like lenses, like we can't meet supply of lenses. They'll always make those generic responses. So they have to do it. This suspension includes basically all of Sony's memory cards. It does affect every line from CF Express Type A to CF Express Type B and SD cards. From what I could tell, there were only 2 cards that they're still actively accepting orders for. One is a Type B card and one is a very low-end SD card. But the tough cards are all affected. Their SDs, which have been really popular, and also their own CF Express cards for their own cameras.
Yeah, that's the weird one for me is the CF Express Type A cards because there's not that many other companies making those. So a lot of people are leaning on Sony cards for that.
Yeah, stinks.
Yowzers.
This super stinks.
Yowzers. Yeah. yeah.
So it is my understanding that Sony probably didn't expect everyone to read this. So if there may be updates on this story going forward, but at the time of this recording, that notice is still live on Sony's website, and we'll see if they've got anything to add to it. But yeah, that stinks.
Yikes. And we're going to see this probably resonate into other brands too, right? We're going to see this. We are already seeing it with pricing, but we might even see it with lack of supply altogether here pretty shortly.
Yeah, I think the issue is not just that the pricing has become untenable. It's that they just can't even get the flash,
the dies,
which is wild. Yeah.
All right. Look at all the amazing content we're getting on our reels, right? On Instagram, flicking through
Totally
there.
worth it.
Dude, like our favorite Hollywood actors having martial art fights on space and stuff. Like, totally worth it. Totally worth it. to not have memory cards for photography. I think. Come on.
I think we should just have a staggered approach where the AI companies get some drives and everything and all the power and all the water and everything for a month. And then the rest of humanity gets a month with everything again. And we just alternate back and forth because we know we should both have equal access to these things.
Yeah.
I think that should be the move going forward. What do you think of my quick fix for all of society's ills, Jared?
Your naivety is beautiful.
Yeah, you're basing it that these companies actually care about where they're sending the stuff. These brands like Micron, like Micron,
I like your 8-year-old child answer.
Got me this far.
The money is, we're just going to take it from who's ever got it, and so they'll take the big orders, and that's it. So, as a reminder to everyone, a few weeks ago we reported that all of the hard drives not SanDisk, WD, because they split. All of WD's hard drives for the entire year have already been sold. Almost all of Samsung's were sold last time I looked. And then there was one other company that also said they had completely sold everything for the rest of the year. So that's it. So that's
I want everybody to know I've got 2 or 3 64 gigabyte solid state drives from like 10 years ago, and I will let them go for like $4,500.
Yeah, you know what you've got, no low balls.
Yeah. Come on, I mean that's a deal.
I think I've got an old 128 gig SanDisk SSD sitting over here for the Ninja. I should flip that for some shekels.
Shekels.
Yikes.
All right, let's move on to
let's go to something happier.
It's happier / interesting. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this. So 20 years ago, Adobe created the digital negative, the DNG file.
Yes.
And
great file.
Since then, there have been those who have been pushing to make it an actually industry-wide recognized standard. Well, it finally happened. The ISO, the International, what does the S stand for? I can't remember now. But the ISO, which
International Standards Organization.
There it is. Thank you.
I think that's a misconception. Anyways.
It's not the same thing as ISO for cameras, right?
No.
Could
be. No, I think it's named. That's why we capitalize it.
This is why
I think it is named because that was standardized. Yeah, it was ASA and then ISO based on the organization. So yes, I believe they are the same. However, I am using my 8-year-old child brain to formulate
there's a point of contention that ISO is not actually ISO International Standards Organization, but the term ISO, which is from a Greek word which means the same, which means like standards. So, you guys can fight about that all you want.
Let us know in the comments how wrong all of us are about all of this. At any rate, the International Standards Organization, thank you, Jordan, has made the DNG the only RAW file type that is known as the official RAW file type. So what do you guys think about this?
I mean, my big question is there going to be, because I assume there's fees to license it, which is why we just see Pentax. Yeah. Okay, so Pentax and Leica are the only ones using it. If there's no fees associated with it, then let's throw these suckers in everything. They're slightly larger file sizes, but they'll work on... I could pull out Photoshop CS4 and be rocking these DNGs from the latest cameras.
We love DNGs. I mean, for us selfishly, when we're reviewing new camera products that wouldn't necessarily be supported by software updates in time because the releases are so new, when the camera shoots DNG, it's great because you can open it up in anything, and you then wonder why doesn't all of it work that way. And I think a big part of it just goes back to proprietary RAW formats being something that the manufacturers could then tune to their own software, which is largely garbage across the board that nobody really likes to use, so why even bother? But they've really been holding on to that, and I wish everybody would switch to DNG, but
yeah, so there is this misconception that you have to pay Adobe if you want to use DNG. You don't. There's a license agreement that says as long as you're using it per the specification, which is now supported by the International Standards Organization, that you have the right to use it. That's it. Done.
It's the International Organization of Standardization, which does not line up with the ISO. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
So, Jordan, you missed one camera brand that uses it. Sigma.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Sigma.
Big ups for them as well.
They've been using it since the Foveon cameras, as far as I remember.
Yeah. And, Pentax
it was a firmware update,
yeah, Pentax Ricoh's always been great because they make both PEFs and the option to go to DNG. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I don't see a reason why that's just not the thing to do. If you want to have your own, go for it. And if you want to tell people that there's some advantage to using it, great. Otherwise, just let us shoot DNGs.
Yeah. The justification has always been things that aren't supported by the DNG standard, like Canon's dual pixel RAW modes, some like multi-shot image stacking. If you want to use that for your own stuff, but for the vast majority, just give me the option to slap a DNG in there, have slightly larger file sizes, and be able to edit it, and know that it's going to be able to work in any software.
Yeah, and if the companies would just follow Panasonic's, nod and do the image stacking in camera, that would be great. Then you wouldn't even have that problem.
I still feel like someone's got a patent. Someone named OM System is surprisingly eager to talk about the return of the pen. You like that? That's got to be my
incredible
best
work
segue ever.
Well, great segue.
Yeah, so I was at CP Plus last month, and we had a list of questions. I always ask you guys if you have anything to ask. We have the team going. I sit there and ask them all the questions, and we had wrapped all the questions, and I was like, folding up my iPad, and they're like, wait, don't you want to talk about the pen? You're like, guys, we've asked you about the pen for like the last 5 straight years, and your answer has been nothing.
Who knows?
Yeah, maybe, sure. I see you like the pen, whatever. So we stopped asking because we weren't getting any answers. Well, this time they actually have something to say. They asked us, I'd like to ask you for some feedback about the pen. Maybe we are thinking of an opportunity for that in development. And then DP Review also spoke to them, and they basically said it's already in development. Like they're in the process of bringing the pen back. So here's your chance. Both Chris and Jordan, as well as everyone listening to this podcast, put that in your comments below. What does the pen have to have in order for you to buy it?
Viewfinder
Chris, first.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous little camera. I think a front command dial would be really nice. Maybe some modularity with the grippage, release it with some cool accessories, really make it so you can make it your own, style it up. And EVF would be great. What I don't want is a USB-C port put on there and nothing else.
So you don't want to see the camera that we never got access to, just re-released with USB-C.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. And EVF I think would be super cool. But I mean, it's beautiful. Obviously keep the form factor. People love it. I'm excited. I have like a 98%. I'm 98% convinced they will not put an EVF in it, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know, man.
I think I have the solution for this camera is ditch the 20 megapixel stacked sensor that's very expensive. I don't think this camera needs that at all. All the money that you save on that, this doesn't have to be a super cheap camera, but put it towards fantastic build quality, a truly beautiful electronic viewfinder, none of this 2.36 million dot stuff that we've got on that I've been struggling with on an OM3 recently. None of that. Just put it all into as much premium stuff as possible. A great mechanical shutter in there. And I think people would be over the moon. And, if Panasonic's willing, maybe they could get one of those 25 megapixel micro four thirds sensors. Those things are pretty hot.
That'd be nice.
It's not stacked. Might be nice. A little resolution bump. But even if it's the old 20, I don't care. Just give a super premium feeling camera.
I will say, even though you said you don't want it, Chris, I think if they were to re-release this existing camera, which only saw release limited into like Japan and a couple Europe regions, and they actually re-released it globally with updated hardware like USB-C, this would still sell well. People want this camera. I know what you're saying. If they're going to develop, if they're going to develop a brand new one, there are things they should do. But there's a stopgap solution, which is Jordan.
I don't want to be so excited about a camera and then get it and just have to crap all over it. But
I think we're talking about two different things almost here, because there was the EP7, which was released in Japan and Europe, which was like a small, doesn't have an electronic viewfinder.
Very basic.
I'm saying bring back the Pen F, which is what we've been saying for a long time. That's the one I think we're really looking for. If they want to expand the Pen line as well, great. I think we need more small micro four thirds cameras, but this is the one that photographers are all losing their minds over, looking for a small but very functional micro four thirds camera.
Let's be optimistic in this very pessimistic world. How's that sound?
Do you think that...
No, I don't.
Okay. I lost the thread anyway. I can't remember what I was going to say.
He shut
Good
that segue and story down.
Good conversation.
Okay. Well,
this is a bit of a teaser. Oh, the next story.
The next story. Yeah.
The next story.
So anyway, to close this one out, let us know in the comments below what you think I remember it now. Do you think the pen needs to be as water and weather resistant as the other OM cameras?
Yes.
I think you do. So it needs to be
sure.
fully
Why
sealed?
not? I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure. Because
I don't think it needs it.
I don't think so either.
No, you don't. I know you guys don't. But you know what? Street photographers appreciate this stuff.
Well, it can be weather sealed, but
look at your X100. You're dribbling coffee all over your X100 every day, and it's still alive. So, I'm
not doing that at all. I've taken it out in the rain though,
Dude,
which you're not supposed to do.
OM System has a reputation, and I feel like they should continue said reputation. Even though I know they're going to market this as a camera for the streets, there's rain in life, baby.
Okay, now you're right. This is a bit of a teaser. Thypoch, Chris's favorite. I don't know
That's
if
not
favorite.
true, but I really like their lenses.
You like their lenses.
Yes.
They have announced that they are working on an autofocus 24 to 50 f2.8 zoom for Sony E-mount.
Right. So this is, I guess at first we're like, oh, this is big news because Thypoch is kind of famously known for making a lot of M-series, M-mount lenses. But really, for a Chinese manufacturer making autofocusing lens, it's nothing new. I mean, Viltrox has been doing it. A lot of companies have been doing it. Korean companies like Samyang have been doing it. I mean, so this is a new... But I think Jordan's going to like the focal length, 24 to 50 f2.8.
There's already a 24 to 50, is there not?
That's my point. Yeah, if they're just going to drop this in E-mount, Sony has a very small 24-50 already. So that's kind of confusing. And what Jordan loves is ultra wide to normal. You got to give me a 20 to 50, an 18 to 50, something like that. That's what gets my blood pumping, where just shaving 20 mils off the telephoto end, not quite as exciting to me, unfortunately. So this thing better be cheap. That's where it would make sense, because the Sony one is still upmarket. That's a G series lens, so I think it's like $1,300, $1,200, right around there. Street. So if they can drop this thing at like $700, $800, then there's a reason for it. But if it's pretty expensive, and if their autofocus and like build quality and everything isn't like really excellent on their first autofocus lens, then it's going to be a tough sell in E-mount.
I'm sure it'll be accurate. I don't know that it'll be a linear motor. I mean, we'll find out, right? Is it going to be voice coil? Is it going to be stepping motor? It'll probably be a stepping motor. I mean, we could at least look at the other companies that have done this, like Sirei and Viltrox does put higher end motors, but their lenses are a bit pricier in those levels. So yeah, we'll have to see, like, is it going to be a stepping motor? I think it probably will, because I agree, if it's the same price as Sony, why? It also kind of looks a little bit old school in a way. It's got a styling which is, I don't know, it's interesting.
Do you not like it?
Reminds me of Laowa's autofocus lenses.
Yeah, Laowa, a little bit of Tokina in there. Like, it's kind of, it's not ugly.
You like the ridges on the grips on the zoom and the
maybe. I can't, who knows? We'll see. We're going to play with it. But it doesn't, I don't know. How do I... My first thought from a purely stylistic standpoint is it doesn't look very sophisticated. It looks kind of modern, not classy. It looks kind of modern, and I don't know. We'll see.
Do you see they've got that little? There's a little disc on there that looks very similar to a Sigma Art.
Yeah,
little silver.
Yeah,
their little badge. Yeah. But hey. Let's see. We'll have to play with it soon. I mean, optically, so far their lens has been really nice. So I have no doubt they can make a good zoom, a good optical zoom. But we'll have to see if it's really going to find a home, a place.
All right. Moving on. The Mac Pro is dead, and it's
that makes sense.
Not coming back. So last week Apple confirmed that the Mac Pro is donezo. They have no plans to revisit the line. When they announced this Mac Pro, it had the M2 Ultra chip. I was at Apple Park, and so there was this one, and then there's the Mac Studio, the actual unit I'm currently still using with the M2 Ultra, right next to each other, and I was just like, but why?
I was wondering, like, at the announcement, did the whole crowd go like, huh? All collectively.
Well, it's like, time. Yes, there's like 14 people who love the ability to do PCIe expansion with a Mac Pro. Most of the people that do that, I think, are on PC. So like this is just a weird fit for Apple. And what's also odd is like when they took the sides off it and showed you the inside, like this thing is just empty in there.
Yeah.
It just takes up a ton of space for no reason, really. Even if you put PCIe's in there, still, I would say a third of it is still empty, just blank.
If you're traveling, you can use that for like socks and underwear and things like that, I think was the intention when Apple designed this.
Yeah.
I mean, do people still need external hard drives, for extra storage and stuff? Like, I guess those days
that's
are...
Well, not anymore. You can't afford it. But there was a time where you could buy SSDs, PCIe expansion, and put them in there.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, like render farms and stuff like that.
Was the other benefit as well to like put in like powerful GPUs that you could then have like quad monitors coming from? Like, this is for workstations, right? This is for like an editing bay.
Believe it supported external GPUs. I don't believe that Apple has like on the whole Apple Silicon thing. You couldn't like when I first saw this, I'm like, oh, can I put like a 4080 in there? No, they have not supported that type of thing. Like,
I guess that's why they're dead.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, well. Tamron.
Is anybody sad? Are we okay? Jordan, are you sad? Do you need a moment?
No. I mean, that design is a pretty famous one, but I'm okay with it being a relic of the past.
You rocked one for quite a long time. You did a lot of editing of our early show on that. Yeah.
Wait, G5 and up a storm.
Okay, so you had a G5. Did you ever have the trash can?
I didn't. I worked with an editor who had a trash can, which I made fun of incessantly. And he was like, man, I paid $7,000 for that. Stop dunking on my trash can. I'm like, but it looks stupid and you look silly when you're working with it.
It aged so badly.
Yeah.
Like the processor in that thing could not keep up. I had a friend who had a trash can, and he was just like, all he was doing was complaining about it during the later stages of it. So, yeah. Anyway, the new studios are great. Love my studio. So
nice.
Yeah, I can see why it's been replaced. Plus the footprint's so much smaller. So yeah. As I was saying, Tamron, we have asked them. This is something we're gonna, I think, have to pull an OM system and just stop asking, and then they'll tell us they're doing it. But we asked them, what's the deal with primes? Like, what specifically is why we haven't seen any? And they effectively said that their goal, one of their main stated goals, is to make unique lenses in the market. Right. And that's not really something you can do with primes particularly easily. It's a pretty saturated market, and they've we don't really think we start with what does the market need and what would be unique. And at that point, primes are no longer a discussion point because they're taken care of and they're not unique. So here's the thing I shared with them, which is something that the three of us have shared on this podcast before. There is a place for compact, affordable, slightly slower primes.
Yes.
A 135 f2, a 105 25, that sort of thing. I said, that's something you could go. I didn't put it in the story, but what they essentially told me was like, they had been told early on when in their prime days, and even now making zooms, that like people care so much about fast.
It's true.
And that is in their minds every time they consider a slower lens, that they're afraid that the response will be poor. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I get why they're feeling this way. It's quitter talk, though. It's quitter talk. Quitters don't quit. But it's like, I get it. You don't want to compete directly against manufacturers, but if we've learned anything from the recent lens manufacturer market, where so many different companies are getting in on an already saturated market and finding success, there's things you can do. I like the idea of making slower primes, or making interesting flare characteristics, or doing fun stuff with character, or releasing lenses that, I mean, you can make lenses that other people are not touching and do well in that. But I mean, I guess we have to remember Tamron has to compete not only against his Japanese counterparts, but now all of the rest of the world as well.
Yeah, I mean, my takeaway is I thought back to that 35-1.4, which we've always been like, that was a spectacular lens, won our lens of the year, but it was competing against a lot of 35 1.4s at the same point, and it just got buried. Also because it came out at the very end of the DSLR days. It was just bad timing on that. And I think Tamron really remembers that, and that's still kind of haunting them all this time later. Yeah. But I also think, look, if you want super fast, cheap lenses, the Chinese are just going to keep pumping stuff out. We're going to talk about that in a little bit here. And I do think just considering like how do photographers actually use these lenses would be a really great way to set themselves apart. Like those 135s Jaron mentioned, I've been saying forever, give me like slow ultra wides that are tack sharp, because we stop those lenses down. A lot of the time they're like budget slower ultra wides. No, none of that. Give me a super sharp one. Things like that. I think that has definitely changed compared to back in the DSLR days where, yeah, prime meant fast, fast, fast. And if it wasn't that fast, it didn't sell. I think mirrorless has changed the equation quite a bit.
I still think people want speed. You know, it's a tough one. I know we'd be okay with it. I don't know if the general audience would. It's tough. And, you know, Tamron doesn't have like a sort of vintage legacy to really rely on. You know what I mean? Like you can't go back and really be like, oh, we had this unique look with our lenses back in the day. Nothing that's really desirable. Yeah, adapt dolls. I mean, it's
they have
cool.
Bronica,
cool
did
idea.
they not? They own the Bronica brand.
They did acquire the Bronica brand and then subsequently let it go. Yes. I don't know, man. I think
So you agree
I totally get where they are right now and why they're being conservative. I get it.
But at the same time, it's quitter talk.
It's quitter talk.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I get it.
Give me that 85 mil with macro. 1:2 macro on an 85 1.8. That rules. No one else is doing that. That would be unique.
Yeah.
Do it.
It's a big risk. I get why they don't want to do it though, but like if they did release new primes, we would absolutely be on it. The whole world would be like, oh, this is cool. Let's look at the Tamron primes back from hiatus after so long. Like there would be certainly enough interest and enough fanfare to get it going, but will it last? Who knows? I don't know. But I think I told them, like, make weird stuff. Do like what Pentax did with their limited edition. Like, make some really sexy, high-end Tamron limited edition lenses. Throw the, like, you know, I love the SP lenses, but they are quite understated. They're handsome, but they're understated. They're simple. Maybe make like premium lens. Be like, look what Tamron can do, and make some really expensive, fancy, sexy. Make 31 millimeters and 43 millimeters and 77 millimeter lens. Why not? That'd be cool. I want them to go that way, but
yeah. All right. Well, moving on. So there's this forum member at the DP Review forums. His name is Asahi Man. He apparently has a exceptionally high hit rate, like the beer, on confirming rumors or sharing leaks. And according to Asahi Man, they are saying that there is a new Pentax DSLR coming in 2026, no speculation, like straight up confirmed. So what do you think? Do you think that Pentax could release a DSLR this year, Chris, based on your recent conversations less than 6 months ago with them?
I don't know, man. What would they do? Like,
they re-release a camera they've already released. Like, that's what I think. Yeah, that's what's for me. It's not possible for them to have already created the new DSLR that they told us that they were trying to come up with. This, like, we're trying to figure out how to make the DSLR popular again. You can't say that 6 months ago and then not only have the answer to that, but also the product completed inside of a year. What I think is more likely is that they're going to do what they did. What was that? There was a Pentax DSLR that they just re-released,
the K70 to KP, which just add a USB-C port and a higher resolution screen and call it a day. So if they did that, what would it be? Because there's a clear answer there. There's one thing that hasn't been touched in a very long time, and if it's that with a USB-C port, I'm gonna throw a fit.
Is it K1?
The K1?
K1, K1 too.
Yeah. Which is a great camera, but I mean, it was a great camera, what, 9 years ago? I mean, like, come on, man. You know, what I would like to see Pentax make is like a new novel, really compact DSLR. But who's going to buy it? I don't know, man. I don't know what they're supposed to do.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. Everything I would want them to do would require like a brand new camera, brand new design, you know, and do something unique that they haven't done before. I mean, really, I think if they made a classic re-released an analog film camera, that would be cool. I think if they re-released a digital version of an analog camera, like that would be cool. But that's it. I can't really think of anything else that I'd want to really play with out of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jaron's just on the exact right track here, which is they're still trying to figure this out. They're confused by how to make it compelling for the next generation. I have the answer, which is just make it incredibly like high quality, fun to use mechanically, like excellent components in that, in a digital SLR. Put a thumb winder on it, go fully old school, give it the option for autofocus with their latest lenses, but also like put a killer optical viewfinder in there. Like looking through Chris's F4 when we were shooting that video the other day, like, man, why can't we get something like this again?
That's what I just asked for. That's what I want. That's what I want. Yeah. They're not going to do it. What are they going to do? They're going to re-release the KS1 or something like that, or the KR? Bring back the KR.
KP? I never did an update on the KP.
I want them to bring back Super Takamar. I'm looking saying Super Takamar.
It's a cool name. What was the camera, the SLR? I liked it. Oh, the KS2, which had like a running shoe on the bottom. It was like this weatherized with orange thing on the bottom.
I'm sorry, a what?
Yeah, the Pentax KS2.
A running shoe? A KS2. Hold on.
I would not consider it good looking.
I liked it. I actually liked it. It had this neat sort of, it looked like anime, actually. It looked like a Gundam robot. Like, I think it was inspired by it. Because on the top plate, it had this, like, corrugated sheet metal, like, with little holes in it, which is, terrible because it got full of mud and dirt. You can never get it out. But, you could wash the camera under the tap if you wanted to clean it. It was a nice little 20 megapixel, very compact DSLR.
Running shoe.
It wasn't particularly nice, but it was bulletproof. And I don't know. But again, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do?
I think the KS series is they looked in the parts bin, and for the KS1, they were like, we got these LED bulbs sitting around. I don't know, what if we stuck those to a camera? And then people were like, no, we don't want our cameras glowing while we're using them. They're like, what else we got in here? Oh, I got these old shoes. So yeah, it's a shame that we didn't see like the KS3, which was just like built out of a cardboard box or old USB cables or something like that.
Do a partnership with Gundam. Jaron would buy 24 of them.
Okay, so on that note, actually, I'll probably have it here in the next few weeks, but someone was making custom film Gundam cameras on Instagram.
Of course they were.
And he may have just told me this morning that my place in line has come up, and he's got mine ready to send.
You have a disease. You need an intervention. We're going to sit you down.
It's going to go back here. Put it inside of these, and it's just going to be a little camera.
God, I love this. Follow your truth, Jaron. Don't let Chris.
I know. It makes such a joy kill right now.
Why not have both of my hobbies combined into one? Like, I feel like
beautiful.
That's a great choice. All right, last news story of the week. So I saw this and I was like, I've never heard of this organization before, but I'm in. It's called Power Lines, not to be confused with the Goofy movie Powerline. It is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to modernizing public utilities. So the guy who runs it, who founded it, was formerly an analyst and member of the Department of Energy, and has essentially said the United States approach to power management is untenable. And the prices for energy keep rising. We have to address this sooner than later. So now they are looking for a photographer to take a 3-month fellowship with the goal of humanizing the impact of rising utility bills on everyday consumers and communities across the U.S. For this 3-month fellowship, which is, by the way, you do not have to only do this during these 3 months. You can have another job or whatever, as long as you've got this thing planned out and you plan to complete it. They'll pay you $30,000. You have to come up with the concept, you have to execute it, and you have 3 months to do it. I think this is a very cool opportunity for a photographer who's interested in doing documentary work or photojournalism to make a bunch of money doing something meaningful.
Mm-hmm. I want a listener to be the person selected for this. I will be very disappointed if it's someone who is not listening to this podcast right now. So all of you, you better jump on it. At the same time, isn't it kind of bleak that we have a news story that's like, there's a job for a photographer?
Why don't you guys tell us about what you've learned about third-party lenses? And Chris, like pros, cons, pitfalls, what do they do best? Why would you get one? that sort of thing.
Oh, Lord, what a complicated subject. So yes, as you can see, I have a motley collection of lenses. This was only a small sampling of what's available out there and whatever. We've got like a Songra lens here. Still haven't even opened it out of the plastic because we have no time. We're not just talking about Chinese lenses, although the majority that we've been testing lately have been Chinese lenses, but Samyang from Korea. Laowa is actually one of the earliest, I would say, Chinese third-party manufacturers that really made a splash in the market. I want to talk about them. Thypoch, been testing a lot of their lenses. We've got Sirui, we've got Viltrox. There's another Thypoch on here. There was a time where we would have categorized Chinese lenses and third-party lenses as affordable alternatives to what was already available. So, but that was a very simplistic way of looking at it. I think the costs were down a little bit, but the actual designs, I would argue, third-party lenses out of China really started making either ultra-affordable garbage or the lens manufacturers tried to do things that are unique. Oh, is that ultra affordable garbage there, Jordan?
Yeah, I was looking around for like an example in my house of what Chinese lenses used to represent to me. So I found this 7 Artisans 35 1.4, which goes for $60 on B&H Photo right now.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people are used to this kind of stuff, which Jaron in his cruelty made me review. This no-name Amazon trash, which is, like they're $40 or whatever, right? This is what everybody was used to.
I did not buy that on Amazon, sir. I bought that on AliExpress.
Oh, sorry. I stand corrected. Oh, now then we're okay, right?
Yeah, this lens feels bad. That's what I remember of Chinese lenses.
Right? So it really started off in two forms, that you had a lot of M-mount, like 7 Artisans, TT Artisan. They really started their whole game with M-mount lenses as very affordable manual focus alternatives to Leica expensive M-series lenses, right? I mean, it was this way of being like, look, what else we can do, and it doesn't have to cost you $4,000 to buy a lens. And I think a lot of people poo-poo with that because like, why am I going to put a $60 lens on my $8,000 Leica, right? But, there's a lot of M4 users out there, M3, they want to have something fun for analog. Anyway, I would say Laowa is a great example of what Chinese manufacturers first started doing, which is to make some very interesting lens designs like probe lenses and ultra-wide lenses for astrophotography and weird lenses that had strange focal lengths. They were touching areas that the Japanese manufacturers didn't necessarily want to cover, right? Think of how much Rokinon Samyang did business-wise making astrophotography-specific, ultra-wide, ultra-fast manual focus lenses, right? Because other manufacturers didn't necessarily want to put a lot of investment in there, and they're like, we'll do it. Or Laowa made a lot of tilt shift lenses when a lot of the other manufacturers were kind of letting go of their tilt shift business. Laowa's like, check this out, right? And so that's how we first came into trying these lenses, seeing them on the market. But we've seen quite a renaissance since then. Laowa still makes some very interesting lenses, and they still tend to do wacky stuff. But now we're seeing companies like Sirui, Viltrox. These companies are making lenses very much aimed at competing directly with Japanese original manufacturers, right? Viltrox Pro lenses, Viltrox Lab lenses, I've tested a lot of them. They have so far been reliable. They've autofocused well. They've had faster focusing motors in their higher end series, and they've optically been really impressive. I mean, sharp lenses, very good flare characteristics, fairly clean loca. Like, they've actually been really good. And I mean, the 85mm 1.4 is one of my particular favorites as an 85mm lens goes. This is the Viltrox Pro version, not the Lab series, and I really like it. It's built well, it's simple, it's got very interesting optical characteristics, a cool dreamy kind of look at 1.4 that very much so gets contrasty and sharper as you stop down. And so it's a neat portrait style lens. And then you've got companies like Thypoch, and I'm just trying to give context and we can discuss it. Thypoch, when they first came on, I think Jaron was saying, well, hey, I've got my old Bessa. I want to shoot some of these lenses on film. Let's just try them out. And it turns out they actually make some really nice M-mount lenses that focus properly, are machined beautifully, and don't have a lot of issues. I think
for what it's worth, I think people should also, they might not know this, but Thypoch is a division of DZO Film. So they make cinema
DZO
glass. So they're not a no name company. They came from somewhere.
But it's been really cool. You know, viewers were asking us only about a year and a half. It was actually the viewers which were saying, you guys need to like pay more attention to the Chinese manufacturers and start reviewing these things. And they were absolutely right. Because when we started reviewing them, we really started to see the nuances of this industry. And it's quite intimidating for a new buyer to get into. Okay, which is why we're trying to review these so well, you know, and I don't want to make generalizations, but now I'm about to make sweeping generalizations. Okay, so I think Laowa is still a very interesting company to look at if you want the weird stuff. You know, they're not making a lot of general purpose stuff. They're making more specialized lenses with interesting looks, but they've really come a long way. Their designs have become far more refined than they used to be. I would say Samyang is a company, optically nice lenses, but I think very basic, very affordable. They're still in that very simplified, bare bones kind of system. I think Sirui is, in my opinion, a better example of what that can be. The Sirui Aurora lenses are sharp. They're clean. The bokeh is, for the most part, quite nice. They're well built. They don't focus very quickly. They got stepping motors, but most people, that's fine. But they're affordable, and they are like G-Master clean in a lot of cases. Viltrox, we've already said, they're like the Sigma of China right now. They're making some very upscale, very competitive lenses with a little bit of character. When it comes to the M mount, I haven't played with a lot of TT Artisan. I haven't played with a lot of 7 Artisan, but Thypoch certainly. They tend to kind of go mixed bag. Sometimes they're making lenses that are very clean. Sometimes they're doing things like the latest Kasana 21 millimeter here, where they're actually doing something very creative. They're actually going with like gold flare, like Canon FD mount flare. So there's still this kind of weird risk of getting into it, being like, is this going to be a character full lens or a clean lens? But China's absolutely making both. Whew.
Jordan, have you? Sorry if you did while I was feverishly typing. Have you talked about your experience with, was it 7 Artisans or TT Artisan? 7 Artisans. Yeah, they had a Cineline that you were excited about last year, and you've used the lenses.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, Chris is coming at that from kind of a photographic perspective, but you mentioned DZO, where you're looking at their cinema options as well. And we've seen, like, I remember back when we used to go to NAB, there were like 5 manufacturers with cinema lenses. Yeah. And then we just saw that absolutely explode a few years ago. So I really wanted to kind of contrast, because I've used those 7 Artisan primes, and lately, if you've been watching the credits, we've been using the Aizu primes from Sigma. And basically, the main difference that I'm finding between, like, you know, these affordable, we're talking like $1,000 a lens as opposed to like $8,500 a lens. It's a dramatic price difference there. And you're not getting what you might think, which is just dramatically improved sharpness and flare resistance and stuff like that. What you're paying for there is consistency, because when I look at the 7 Artisan set that I've got right here, the flare characteristics, the feel, the sharpness, the fall off are all dramatically different between
across
this whole
the
set of lenses.
Range? Like
throughout, yes. So like I can drop on like the 24, compare it to the 50, very different kind of look shot to shot, which is, I mean, certainly it gives you a lot of options as a cinematographer, but that's generally not preferred, because if I'm shooting 2 actors and I want to go into a close-up, I don't want the actual feel of things to change that much. Now, that said, there's some lenses in that lineup. Like, I really like the 35 from 7 Artisans. You know, looking at something like this too, they're all in similar housings, but it feels like they're artificially so. Like, they're not really balanced perfectly from lens to lens in terms of where the center of gravity is. So it's kind of like they built them out to match. Where when I grab one of the Aizu primes, I can't tell which is which without looking at the focal length on the barrel. Like, they are all balanced exactly the same. But more importantly, optically, what you're paying for there is the same character, the same fall off. Like, I went into our review of the Aizu primes with the intention of saying, like, which is the best of these. So we shot charts, did flare tests, and I just said, you know what? I'm going to speak to all of them as a set, because there's, you know, besides the obvious things of like curvature or something like that, they all look the same, which is exactly what you want from a set of cinema lenses. So if you're looking at, you know, some of the new stuff coming out of China or Korea that's a little bit more affordable, you want to go out and really test those beforehand. Like when we used the DZO lenses on the Alaska film, and the differences there are dramatic when I was editing them. Like, I would even color grade them differently because they had slightly warmer or cooler tones lens to lens, although they were by and large, excellent optics. What you're paying for here is to go into a rental shop, say, I like the look of these lenses. You know they're all going to be matched. You're not going to have to think about it anymore. Where Chinese lenses, for cinema, I'd say, are still a little more trial and error at this point.
Right.
For clarity purposes, I don't believe you were using Doozie. I think you were using Nisi, which is another Chinese brand.
Oh, thank you, Jaron. Okay, yes,
There's
you're correct.
But the thought process still applies, what you're saying. Is it's another Chinese brand of cinema lenses. And I also recall despising the flare on those Nisis. Like you were shooting into the sun. It was when we were in Mist Cove behind Chris, and the way that the sun was hitting the glass, I was sitting on the shore. I was like, this looks like crap. Like
it was one of the ultra wides. I forget which one it was.
It was gross.
Yeah.
I just remember catching coho after coho salmon, and it was resplendent.
Oh, yeah. You looked great. You were doing your job.
Everything was good, and the bears didn't eat us.
Frown.
It was awesome. What would sort of the cost savings be going with? Because I know TT Artisan makes cinema lenses as well. Aren't they like bright white? We saw them at NAB. They're like solid white. Yeah. What are we looking at cost savings wise, generally speaking?
I mean, I think, looking at the 7 Artisans that I just brought up, where you're looking anywhere from $800 to $1,200 a lens.
Super cheap,
compared to like the Sigmas we said, like for T1.3 cinema glass is very affordable. If we start comparing this to like the high end stuff, like Leica C's and Zeiss glass and stuff like that, you're looking, $50,000 a pop and stuff like that, compared to $800 to $1,000. They're just playing in different ballparks. But if you don't have the time to test all the lenses, which a lot of cinematographers don't, it's gonna pay for itself. Just knowing this is the look I like. This whole set is going to give me that look, from, the wide angle to the tellies.
So TT Artisan also makes a dual bokeh cine lens, which has bubble or soft. There's like a little switch on there. They have a variety of them, 35, 50, 85, T2.1s. They appear to not all be the same. So like the 35 and the 50 look like they're in similar housings. The 85 to me looks different. And these are dirt cheap.
Yeah.
$323 per lens.
Let's go.
So okay, now we're talking like effectively, as far as cinema goes, these are free. Yeah, so right. I guess you just deal with their intricacies when you get them, because like your expectations have got to be rock bottom.
Yeah. Well, no, you're paying it. You need to be able to play with it and get the creative vision for that lens. And that's where it makes a ton of sense. Go play around in the rental shop, or throw $300 at a single shot where you want that effect. I think about like the resurgence in people using Petzval lenses, which are optically terrible, but they give you a very unique look that people are still talking about in Poor Things to this day. They're like, I want the Poor Things lens. So if it's $300 for that effect, go nuts. But I'm not going to want a set of really weirdo bubble bokeh lenses. It's for the odd shot.
Yeah, those 7 Artisan ones, those T1s, those have gotten cheaper. The 35 millimeter is $607.20.
Wow.
The 135 is $639.20. Why and 20 cents? $711.20. And they do come in white or black.
Got to get that white.
The price is still an interesting factor, because like if you look, and I'm just looking up now, I mean, if you look at Sirui Auroras, if you look at Viltrox Pros, even the Thypoch M mount lenses, the Samaras, for example, and the Kasanas, like, you are substantially cheaper than the original manufacturer still, right? So we're kind of, and I don't know how much longer that'll last, but right now we're in this phase where the astute buyer, if they're willing to do a little bit of research and check out reviews and stuff like that, look at sample images, the astute buyer can actually get glass that in some ways you might prefer to the original manufacturer, that will at least compete with it on an almost level playing field, but will be far less. I mean, those lab lenses and Aura lenses, I'm seeing like $700-800 Canadian, like $500 US, like, for an 85 1.4, which a lot of people would consider like a pipe dream for way down the road. That's pretty incredible, right? Mm-hmm. And you're at a point where it's not a toy. It's not cheap garbage. It's like a very good, usable, professional quality lens. So navigating that is the tricky part. There's some real gems out there, but we are seeing consistency. I'd say Viltrox is very consistent. Thypoch is very consistent. Sirui seems to be, from the lenses that I've played with so far. So, I mean, these manufacturers know how to make good glass. I think they're still sourcing all of their glass or a lot of their glass from Japan. It's still coming from Hoya or Ohara, these companies here. But yeah, I think there's domestic Chinese markets that make glass as well. They got a lot of manufacturing capability.
My last note on the Thypoch, I think I didn't like the 28, but it had nothing to do with the lens. It's just that I didn't like the character of that lens. I don't like that field of view for some reason. And I think it was also because I had the Eureka 50 with me, and I liked that one so much more that I kept shooting on the Eureka 50, which, by the way, I think is a really cool lens. It's the one with the telescoping design.
Yeah.
It seems absurd that works. Like you're using it and it's kind of like, ooh, how is this going to be in focus? Very well. Great lens. Loved it.
But and they're making some, like the Samaras are a good example of very modern, very clean version of a lens. And then they have their characterful lenses, which have, interesting flaws and stuff.
I appreciate that they've got them on two separate lines, so you as a buyer know what you're getting into.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And then you also have companies like Light Lens Lab doing, like, this is the cool thing, is like nobody's doing this, or I'd say nobody, but pretty much nobody's doing this in Japan. Not up, like, large manufacturing capacity, but companies like Light Lens Lab are making these lenses that are mimicking classic vintage glass, like right down to the glass that's being used. Like they'll use radioactive glass. Yeah, they're recreating ingenues and classic Leicas and stuff, and very effectively recreating the bokeh. And I don't know why people don't like this, because it's like, if you want to have that look and you want to have that feel and that character, and you don't want to go on auction and buy these lenses for $50,000, why not spend $1,500 and have that look? Plus, it's a lens then that if you do take out in the field and use and ding up, you're not going to feel terrible, right? I mean, it'd be almost irresponsible.
$50,000 on an original ingenue aren't shooting with them.
Yeah, and if you did, it's kind of irresponsible. Like, I don't know, I mean, it's your lens, but it's like, I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant that these companies are making homages to these very rare lenses and giving buyers an option to try them out and have that same experience. Yeah, and I mean, it's not just China, right? I mean, obviously, like we played with the Omnar Bertele lenses, like that's cool too. But like there's other companies doing this as well. But I think just third party in general is becoming quite exciting now. Quite exciting.
Unless you're a Canon user.
Well, on that note, actually,
and Nikon.
I saw those TT Artisan lenses that were super dirt cheap. They're cinema. They had them on RF mount.
Yeah, so, as long as it's not as long as they're not communicating, you can throw anything on those suckers. It's great for that. But as we've seen the Chinese manufacturers and Korean manufacturers make more sophisticated things with stabilization and autofocus and full communication, then it's gonna make people in more limited lens mounts get a little jelly.
Yeah, sure.
That's most of them.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the main takeaway is we're just at a point now where you still have to do a lot of research. There's still a lot of cheap garbage out there for sure. But if you turn your nose up at a lot of these manufacturers, you're missing out on lenses that you might actually prefer, at least on par or maybe even more so than the original manufacturer options that you have available.
All right. What have you guys been up to?
Go, Chris.
What have I been up to? I wish I had something more interesting. My life is just right now been a lot of work. Like I haven't been fishing.
I saw a comment that you were mentioning it's still winter in Calgary. Is it still winter in Calgary right now?
It feels like it. Yeah, it snowed yesterday, and Calgary's ugly and stuff. And like, that's our springtime though. Our springtime it goes through like 5 phases where it's like, oh, it's spring. This is how it'll be the rest of our lives, and then it's horrible the next day. Fake right? Spring. Yeah. Pretty normal in our sort of part of the world. Yeah. What have I been up to? A customer sent me this. I emailed them and they didn't get back to me. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. You just reveal that from behind the pile of lenses. I didn't see that.
A customer?
A reviewer. I don't know. They just showed up at the camera store to like, give this to Chris Nichols. I want him to play with it. And then I emailed the person back with the email they provided. No answer. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't know, but it's nice. It's a Konica 2A, old school rangefinder. Actually has a coupled rangefinder. This is the one that has the sexy 48mm f2 lens on it, the faster lens, and it's actually in working shape. The timing seems pretty good. The 500th of a second was a little bit sticky. Let's see if it goes today. It went. So there we go. So that's great. And the glass looks clean. The viewfinder patch is good. Hopefully the light seals are good. So I guess I'm going to throw some film in there and give it a shot. But thank you. Thank you out there. But answer your damn emails.
Yeah, Chris texted me like, who sent me something?
Yeah, because I assumed the first thing I'm assuming is that this is Jaron's conniving, right? He's like, oh, Chris, by the way, you've got 46
I'm not going to send
vintage.
it to your home. I'm going to send it to the camera store.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm like, I don't know, I assumed it was Jaron because he's become a analog prostitute.
I haven't bought
in the
anything
worst
in
sense.
at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait, no,
but
that got no
anyways,
camera.
But it's cool. It's beautiful. So I don't know when we're going to do a review, if whatever. I know Jaron would probably love to play with it a little bit too. But thank you, whoever you are. And we will put some film in it and at least give it a try.
So unlike Calgary, it is actually spring here in Portland, Oregon. And I have I put a big patch, like a thick layer of fallen leaves from my maple trees on top of my dahlia garden, so that to help prevent hard freezing, because they don't like that. You gotta insulate them a little bit. So I pulled that off. I went and I cleaned up the yard, did some weeding. I put some new soil in the raised beds, and I'm prepping.
You looked so happy on your bicycle.
Oh, and then I also went for a bike ride because the trees are all blooming. What's interesting this year is usually the cherry blossoms and the plum blossoms will bloom simultaneously. So we'll get these really big poof balls as well as like the smaller, like more delicate ones. Well, the poof balls are not out yet. So we're going to have like a very extended flowering spring, I think, because also the trees haven't come up yet either. So we're going to have a bunch more that will pop, I think, over the next couple of months. It'll be really nice because the cherry blossoms are basically done now. They're doing that thing where they fall and you can start to see the leaves coming through. Nice. So, yeah, I've been biking in it when the weather, it's raining. It rained yesterday, and I think it's going to rain a little bit more today, but we'll be in the 70s this weekend, temperature-wise.
Good for you. Good for you.
Jordan, what have you been doing?
I went and saw Project Hail Mary in IMAX, something I'd been looking forward to doing that I wasn't able to do because we were in New Mexico when it came out.
I'm seeing it today. Don't spoil it for me. I'm seeing it today.
I am very curious how you're going to respond to it because it's beautiful. I love that so much of it is practical. I want puppets in everything moving forward. I don't care if it's a historical drama. Get some puppets in there. I'm loving that. The way they shot it is truly interesting, using anamorphics to stretch vertically for IMAX instead of horizontally. So there's some very cool camera stuff in there. But this is an incredibly earnest movie. This is a like, hey, we should all like work together and solve problems together. And if we work together, we can solve problems together and we can be friends kind of movie that I think is, I mean, my Letterboxd review is like, it will be very uncool to like this movie in 10 years, but I had a great time. And it's exactly what I needed right now is, it is a very optimistic thing that I think we should all enjoy. But yeah, I'm curious how
I feel like you've already spoiled it for Chris. Yeah,
you think already I'll hate it.
Put it in his mind. So your next week, you have to ask him what he thinks of this.
Yeah, I'd like his report. I can say like my 11-year-old kid loved it. It was like totally wrapped through the whole thing. So, and that's pretty impressive for a 2.5-hour movie.
Are you going with your family, Chris?
Yeah, Maddie's going to come. But it sounds like I'm going to hate this movie.
No, you just have to open your heart to the
He doesn't have one of those anymore.
To the love.
He has a lump of coal in there. A desiccated rock.
What if there was hope? What if things were going to be
hope is
okay?
I love hope. I'm super sentimental when it comes to movies. I'm sure I'll love it. I'm surprised you liked it, to be honest. Because I don't know. We'll see. You don't like overly sentimental films. Neither do I. But
you got to hit a balance with me.
Like I told you, Rental Family turned me off because I'm like, it's too much. Just blech. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
I'll let you know.
The scored honks.
Honks.
Great score.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on to tech support, where we have a litany of speak pipes.
Good word.
Let's
good word.
Speak it up. First is from Christoph.
Hey guys, it's Christoph here from Spain. Absolutely love the podcast. I do have a question for Jordan. I'm thinking about shooting some video of the Easter processions here in Spain, and a lot of them take place in the night. And we're talking here like very, very dim lighting conditions. And I'm planning on shooting this on my Fujifilm X-S20 in f-log 2. And I recently bought the Sigma 16mm f1.4 in order to get in as much light as possible, but even then, it won't be nearly enough light. So my question is, in these very dim conditions, does it even make sense to shoot in f-log 2? Because I know I probably can't expose as I normally would for f-log 2. Should I just stick with Provia, Astia, one of the film simulations? Or how would you approach a situation like this? Does shooting in f-log 2 in very dim conditions even make sense?
Yeah, this is something I think about all the time because we are shooting in quite low light, especially like doing some of the travel show episodes that we've done recently. And it's a balancing act because what you're doing when you're shooting log is you're boosting the shadows effectively. So it's putting the highlights right at their highest point, bring everything else up. So that means when you bring those shadows up, you're introducing noise. So if you were to just use the brightest part of your image, if you're shooting f-log, you're going to get clean, good-looking footage. But if you're banking on using your mid-tones, and especially your lower shadows, it's going to be super noisy when you're doing that. So it depends. If it's very high contrast, like if I'm shooting a sunset or something like that where I need bright as well as some information in the dark, I'm going to accept it's going to be a little noisier. I'll shoot it in log. But if it's more like I'm focused on the mid-tones, or like, you know, if you're shooting a parade and it's going to be lit by like lights and fire and stuff like that, I don't care about the deepest shadows. I just want the stuff that the light is hitting captured. Then I'm happy to use one of those more standard profiles. Like I do like the Eterna profile quite a bit. That's kind of the balancing act that you have to choose what's more important to you. But one thing I will say that's really important to know is Fujifilm does not say that that's a dual ISO camera, but all of those 26 megapixel Fujifilms are. And your base ISOs are 1250 and 5000. So set it to 5,000. That's your second gain step. See if you can balance out your exposures. If everything seems like it's sitting in the shadows, I'd say just screw it, flip over to Eterna and just expose so it looks good to your eye, knowing you're throwing away a little bit of dynamic range. And I got that wrong. It's 1250 and 4,000 ISO. That's why I take notes, so I don't misspeak. 1250 and 4,000. Set it to 4,000, see if it meters out, and go from there.
That was a good question because that's something I think about too. So thanks for sharing. Next one is from James Clark. James Clark.
Hey guys, despite owning a Sony A7C Mark II, my favorite camera to shoot on in 2025 was by far the Instax Mini Evo. Being able to shoot digitally and instantly produce a print straight from the camera is a really wonderful and unique photography experience. And because the prints are immediate, I feel like I'm no longer missing the moment, and that's a breakthrough for me. Before this camera, if I wanted to make a print in the field, I had to break my creative flow, fumbling around in my backpack, trying to connect my phone to an Instax printer, all that. With the Mini Evo, that friction just disappears, and I feel like I've caught a small glimpse into the future of photography in a way. There's just one glaring issue for me. The Instax Mini Evo digital image quality is quite poor. So my question is this, do you think Fujifilm will ever release a more serious version of this camera?
Before you answer that, Chris, it's worth noting that Instax and X are not the same sections of the business.
Right, yes.
They are run by different teams, and I don't think they've ever intermingled. So
yeah, I don't think they do either. Yeah, so this is an interesting experience because we reviewed the Mini Evo, and what I really loved about it is actually it's cool to see that James is having a similar experience. What was really cool about it was not just the filters. I really enjoyed like being able to do all the light leaks and blah, 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 but also it was neat to go out with people on the street, ask to take their portrait, get a photo of them, and then give them a copy of that print. That was really cool, right? And the fact that you can even make copies, right? Like on a classic Instax camera, you'd have to shoot twice if you wanted extras, right? Whereas here I could revisit and reprint as many times as I want. So I love the hybrid system. I think it's great. The Mini Evo was tons of fun for that very exact reason. And yeah, the image quality sucks. And I don't know what to do about that. I mean, the film, it's not like Instax film has a downside when it comes to image quality, although film flatness can be a question, but it's really the lenses they put in front of the cameras just aren't great. And that's not really their intention, right? Like the print quality it always looks, but I don't like the film either because honestly, the dynamic range sucks. Highlights are always blown. Like, I'm constantly underexposing, but then everything looks muddy. Like I don't love it, but I get the appeal. Is there a way to make it better? I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. You can go to the wide format. The wide format does give you more surface area. It is a more impressive print, but again, the lens would have to be able to do that justice, and they still don't seem to do that.
So there are at least a couple, if not more than a couple, photographers on social media who their content is they take a picture and they quickly edit it and they print it all at once and then give it to the person that they photographed. And that experience is what you're describing. It's really nice to share.
Yeah.
I do think that there's a place here that's a really nice balance between that immediacy of that print and good image quality, like excellent X series image quality. They would have to put those two teams together to where they're using the quality glass that you get with X series and maybe a slightly larger sensor than the tiny thumbnail sized ones you get in Instax.
Yeah.
And build it into a nice looking camera that also can print out Instax, probably Instax wide, just to be slightly larger. It would be neat.
I mean, there is the Instax Wide Evo, which is a very similar format, but with the wider frame. And I mean, you do. I would say you do get more of like an impressive print out of it, but you are looking at a much bigger camera, much more expensive media. Like,
no matter what I'm describing, is going to be a bigger camera.
Yeah, it's going to be a bigger camera. Yeah.
But I don't have
that
a
has
problem
a bunch of
with big
creative
cameras.
effects and editing. I mean, you can also look at the alternatives like Lomo, but I find their cameras, the Lomo cameras, they do put glass lenses in, but they don't do the hybrid effect. It's going to print straight to print, and they do tend to be kind of plasticky and weird in other ways. Like, yeah.
I agree that the connection. Oh, I'm sorry, Jordan. You want to say something? Go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say the middle ground here that's really straightforward is you can grab Instax printers that'll Bluetooth connect to a digital camera. Just go grab like an affordable, like an XA5 or something like that. And then in your back pocket, have one of those Bluetooth printers and you can get something similar, but obviously far better image quality. And when you go back to the original, you got that.
But that is what James is doing. That's what he said. He's doing that, but he doesn't like the break in the creative flow and fumbling around. In his
he wants it all in
backpack
one. The printers also. I don't know if it happens with their printers, but like connecting the X100 to my phone is not an experience I enjoy. It works with quotes around it. And I was fighting with it like this last week. Like I was like, I cannot get my phone to recognize this camera. I cannot. And then it was hanging up and I couldn't get the downloads to work. Like I don't want that frustration, that friction. Sucks. Like, it would be nice if it was just one complete unit that plugs or at least is together.
The short answer, James, is although Fujifilm does have a lot of incentive to make some more high scale, air quote, advanced Instax cameras to appeal to a different crowd, largely their intention, I think, for these cameras is still one of fun, simple, easy sharing, party time,
cheaper,
kids, teenagers, cheaper, and it's just not really a big emphasis to make it into a serious product, more serious than what they've done so far. So that's my. Now we're going to go to the next person here, but I think we should veto this one, Jaron. I don't know if I think we should veto this next statement.
Nope, you have to deal with it because it's for Jordan. Stan on YouTube wrote, for the podcast, I've had a Think Tank Urban Disguise 60 for years, and it's the best bag ever in all caps. Jordan is now holding his. I don't know why you like that bag so
much. Is
much.
that the old one or the new one?
Did you get a new one?
This is still the medium one. This is the one I got like 4 years ago. But yes, I got a line on another new one.
Can you show the viewers your neck strap, please, on camera?
Yeah, it's bad. Oh, that's gross. Anyway, Stan continues. It's camera bag or carry-on. 100% agree with Jordan. My question, you all seem to agree that Sigma is the leader in excellent affordable lenses. If you are starting out or switching systems, would the availability of Sigma lenses be enough to sway your decision? Thanks, Stan.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Sigma, yes, absolutely. I'd happily use just their lenses, and I would not feel like I was deficient really in any
So
way, shape,
would you
or
say
form.
we have no cameras at all, Chris? You have to pick a new camera system. Is the knowledge that they're available on certain cameras going to sway you to buy that camera system?
Yeah, totally. I mean that's according to Stan's hypothetical situation of like,
Right. Yeah.
Would
you buy Sony basically? Would you buy them again?
Sure, because I probably would anyways, to be honest.
Right.
But yes, I think buying a brand that has access to third-party lenses is a big benefit, and I would be happy to use the Sigma lenses across the board for professional work. No problem at all.
I would mirror that and do the same thing for Fujifilm. I would buy Fujifilm cameras.
Yeah. Jordan, is it fair to say that you have issues with neck strain and back problems and nerve damage?
I think that's a shoulder bag limitation, sitting alongside dragging around Izu primes a lot lately. I will never speak ill of the Urban Disguise bag. It got me to where I am. It has so many hidden compartments. Oh my goodness. I
cannot believe that when you went to go tell Think Tank how much you loved their bag, they brushed you off.
Oh, they were like, shut up. No one likes these bags. They like our new designs that absolutely no one talks about.
Yeah, that was, I don't know. That was rude.
I was shocked. I used to have a very good relationship with Think Tank back in the day, and clearly something's shift. They turned on me, man.
And you're still loyal to that bag? Like, oh my, it's like, it's not a camera bag.
This is a relic of a bygone Think Tank that I need to hold on to remember in my heart what they were once like.
And now there's somebody who's going to enable your addiction further. Like, this is
where's this new one coming from, Jordan?
Who was it? Someone told me that they had an extra one kicking around. I'll get to the bottom of that.
Burn their house down, Chris.
I will. I will fill their house with Wodencraft bags until they turn against Think Tank and never speak of them again.
Next one is from David. It's loading. There it is.
Hey guys, it's David from Catalonia again. So I own a Canon R5 and I recently bought a Sony a7C II. I know they cannot be really compared, but what surprised me, it seems to be like a fundamental difference in autofocus behavior between both systems. So on the Canon, when subject detection is enabled, the camera always tries to focus on something no matter what. I mean, if it finds an eye, great, or a head. If not, it still attempts to lock focus somewhere. Worst case, it misses, but sometimes it still hits the subject. On the Sony, the autofocus works perfectly when the subject is clear, like the Canon. But when the subject is not clear, then the camera, at least mine, simply doesn't try. If it doesn't know what to focus on, it just gives up, unlike the Canon. In my opinion, the Canon's approach results in a higher hit rate because at least you try when things are not clear in the frame. The Sony is lazy, in my opinion. So I've searched for a Sony setting to change this behavior and found nothing. Do you know what I'm missing here? Because I never heard about this before I actually owned both systems and I tested them in my hands. Thanks a lot.
Sony is lazy.
Yeah.
That's the podcast title.
Sony, he's right. Sony is kind of lazy, David. You're right. I mean, I don't know, I guess I don't know what settings you're using on the Canon. I can talk about the process that I use, but Sony does have real-time tracking autofocus, and that is what I usually use. Real-time tracking, for me, works great, but it works a lot like Nikon's 3D tracking, where you're having a specific spot, you're putting that spot on something, and then the camera's smart enough to engage on things that are close to that spot and track them. So if I put the dot on a face, it will like almost all the time detect the face and then immediately go to the eye or do head detection. Sony's are now smart enough too that if you're doing people detection, if it doesn't get an eye, it will default to head or torso, and that works fine for me. It does put the onus on me to make sure I put that spot close or on the target that I want to track. But I also love that without having to switch anything, I could then put that spot on the background or on an object. And even if there's a face in the shot, it won't automatically go to the face, not unless it's right next to that square. I prefer having that ability to override without having to change any settings. But at the same time, if it doesn't acquire focus, I guess it would start tracking whatever is around that area. But I've never had it not focus on something, maybe the background, but it's rare. If you use Sony zone areas where you're setting a zone that you want it to focus on and do eye detection or animal detection, whatever, it does work well, but it will only focus within that zone. I guess the difference is I like the limitation that Sony has, and I'm willing to very quickly readjust and refocus if it doesn't quite grab it. But if we're talking wide area where you let the camera decide, I don't know. I mean, I don't use it that much, but I've never really had an issue with Sony going way off subject. I mean, I still find it's pretty accurate enough if it doesn't get a face, it'll go to the body or something, or it'll start tracking nearest subject on wide area.
It's funny naming because Sony calls it responsiveness. You can crank that up. And what that means is it's now looking for other subjects. Now, generally, I don't want that. I don't want it if someone leaves the frame, I don't want it to refocus. I want to be ready for when that subject re-enters the frame. But if you want it to be like, oh, I lost that bird, I want it to focus on a nearby bird, you can absolutely crank that responsiveness setting up. And that'll impact all of your continuous autofocus modes.
Yeah. I mean, I back button focus too. Maybe that changes things, right? Because I can very quickly, while still doing exposure or whatever, acquire different targets and then fire independently when I want to fire. I'm not ever in a back button focus eliminates the situation where you were waiting for the camera to focus before it will fire. That could be an issue to speed as well. And then usually my depth of field will cover it, even if it's not quite there. But yeah, I'm not sure, man.
Quick interruption here, guys. This is important news. I just got an update from Riverside that Riverside is now working. So that's good news for all of us. We can jump on and record a podcast. Good news. Thank you for that timely update, Riverside.
All systems operational. I can confirm on my end, too. All right. Last one. Great timing. Last one is from Miguel.
Hey guys, first I want to thank you for the great job you guys are doing. I love the show. I never missed one. You guys are the best. I love it.
Thank you.
I got a question for you. So as a crop shooter photographer that I am, what would be a good reason, or what are the reasons why I rather have a full sensor lens on my camera versus a crop sensor lens? What advantages is it going to give me besides, the capability of upgrading to full sensor in the future? Thanks.
There isn't really one.
None.
No, if you're putting full frame lenses onto a crop sensor, you're still going to get the aperture equivalent that the lens states it is. You're not going to be utilizing all the light from the lens, so there's no benefit there as far as mass volume of light onto the sensor, and it's going to be heavier and larger and more expensive. So if anything, there's actually downsides to having that. So yeah, Miguel, the only advantage you would have is that if you went full frame in the future, you would have lenses to support that. Yeah.
And that's why we keep harping on all of these camera manufacturers of make native APS-C lenses. And they always say just use our full frame lenses on it. But this is exactly the reason why that's not a good solution for it. So we all need to scream for more native lenses for every respective sensor size that the manufacturers produce.
You can make a very tiny argument that because your APS-C sensor is using more of the central portion of the full frame lens, you're not going to have issues with vignetting and corner softness and stuff, which is true, but it's a minor benefit. I mean, most modern lenses are really good anyways to the corners. We're kind of spoiled nowadays. So that would have been more of a significant advantage in the DSLR days. It's not really as much of an advantage now. So yeah, there you go. It's a good question though. It's good to answer. It's good to know.
That was the only thing I was going to bring up, is that you're just using what is typically the sharpest part of the lens. But
exactly.
Is that worth the premium you're likely going to pay?
And the extra weight and size and bulk, no. Obviously, Miguel, moving up to a full-frame sensor will have substantial benefits as far as the potential for higher megapixel count, the ability to collect more light out of those bright lenses because they are physically so much larger, which will give you better high ISO performance in low light situations, shallower depth of field, which is not always desirable, but you can get shallower depth of field. Like going to a full-frame sensor, there's no replacement for displacement, but when it comes to the lenses, I do love it. When it comes to the lenses, yeah, it's like going to a full frame lens is like putting a big, wide 5-inch pipe onto a funnel at the end. It's not going to really benefit you at all as far as the water going through it.
What a visual. All right. Feel good story of the week, guys. I have a gig for all three of us, at least according to some of the commenters online about the quality of our work. An airline, specifically Icelandair, is looking for a really bad photographer. And they're going to fly you to Iceland to prove that even terrible photographers can make that scenery. That scenery is so good, your photography can't be bad at all. Yeah. Looking at it is essentially what they're saying.
You know what I love too is they're not just going to fly you to Iceland, but they're also going to take care of you there, and they're going to pay you $50,000, right? I mean, it's like it's great. I mean, look, I'm not throwing shade. It's great that the Power Lines, organization wants to pay somebody $30,000 for 3 months where they have to plan the whole thing, but this is $50,000 on vacation, and all you have to do is take terrible photos. Like, that's the better photo job right there. But yeah, it's hilarious. Icelandair, of course, does like funny advertising things, and they like to mix it up, and they like to involve like regular people, which is cool. So you have to like submit your portfolio and talk about like give an essay on like why you think you're best for this trip. And they're really aiming it at Iceland is so beautiful that even a terrible photographer cannot help but get stunning photos along the way.
Yeah. It's obviously marketing, but it's funny.
It's a really difficult situation for me because my wife and I were discussing like, we know some excellent candidates. How do we broach this to them? And is the benefit they could make $50,000 worth us hurting their feelings for letting them know they've been posting bad photos for decades?
I said this to a friend of mine, and she's like, Jaron, what the hell? This doesn't exactly. Cool, though. As a note, by the way, the header image that we chose for this story, if you at the bottom here, the image credit reads "Header photo by Jeremy Gray," who assures readers the original photo is actually good and not at all really bad. He actually had to over edit that to try and make it look bad. He changed the horizon line. It's like he had pictures of Iceland. He swears it's actually a good picture, though. He's not a bad photographer. Please don't judge him. There you go.
I could take a bad photo in Iceland, like an unredeeming one. Unredeemed by the beauty. Oh, unredeemed by the beauty.
All right. Well, that's going to do it this week, guys. Make sure you go check out the Harper Finch PetaPixel drop, limited edition drop. Get them while you can. We appreciate Harper Finch working with us on this one. It should be fun. And we'll catch you all next week. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody.